Looking for financial support that strives to honor your community's rich heritage and cultural practices? Introducing RBC Origins. Our Indigenous banking specialists provide resources and advice that can help transform your ideas into tangible progress and community prosperity. At RBC, we're committed to driving your goals forward. Learn more at rbc.com/indigenous. RBC, ideas happen here.
I'm Rick Harp. This is your APTN News Brief for Tuesday, July 29th. We begin in northern Manitoba, where York Factory Cree Nation has declared a state of emergency due to wildfires. In a post to Facebook, the nation says 600 of its members could be trapped as low water levels on the nearby Nelson River have effectively shut down the ferry, the main way in or out of York Factory. And the nation claims the Kiosk Hydro Dam is the cause of those low levels. However, Manitoba Transportation Minister Lisa Naylor told APTN the levels are due to ongoing drought. She said her government is monitoring the situation closely. Meanwhile, other reasons York Factory cited for their state of emergency: downed phone lines, expensive air transportation, and wildfires at the Wildfire Cree Nation an hour away. Located over 900 kilometers from Winnipeg, the Cree Nation will hold a press conference in the city today where they expect to get a response from the province. The Sutina Nation has announced a new partnership with the Calgary Fire Department. With the details, Chris Stewart.
Sutina is a valued neighbor and a valued friend of the City of Calgary and Calgary Fire Department.
Firefighters from both the Sutina Nation and Calgary gathered at the Sutina Fire Department to celebrate and formally announce their new partnership, designed to help save lives.
This is not just a partnership, it is a step towards stronger ties between urban and Indigenous fire services. A chance to share knowledge, to learn from one another, and to build trust through actions.
And both can learn from each other.
What's new now is that Calgary has offered some of their resources, such as their educational pieces and just education on awareness, and we're adopting some of that. And also what we're giving back is certain protocols that they might run into when they reach some of those urban Indigenous individuals out there.
Personnel, equipment, and training will be shared between both the Sutina Nation and the Calgary Fire Departments.
We've got an excellent mutual aid agreement where we will send resources to support incidents at Sutina when they require help. And actually, at times, Calgary Fire Department will reach out to Sutina that there's things such as the tender and bush buggies that are a huge asset for pockets of our city.
And Kidda, a fire safety equipment manufacturer, was here. They donated $86,000 in smoke alarms for the two communities to give to members. Kidda are going to 16 Indigenous communities in Alberta, Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec, and donating nearly $400,000 worth of smoke alarms. Stats Canada shows that in 2020, 1 in 8 people who die from a house fire did not have a working fire alarm.
This marks a significant step towards addressing the urgent need for enhanced fire safety in Indigenous communities within Canada. But our efforts focus on more than just the provision of smoke alarms. It's about creating an action plan tailored to each community that ensures these essential devices are being installed in homes.
Both fire services advise people to check their fire extinguishers and their fire alarms monthly. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Sutina Nation, Alberta.
To Quebec, where a group known as the Guardians of the Territory has been active critics of Bill 97, a bill meant to change how forests are managed by the province. With more on how the group has mobilized against it, Savannah Craig.
A group of land guardians set up a blockade outside of forestry company Domtar's sawmill in Saint-Prime, Quebec. The Guardians want to convince passerbys that First Nations people should have a say in Bill 97. Legislation tabled in April that Natural Resource Minister Maite Blanchette-Vizina says will modernize the forestry regime. Dave Petitquay is leading the protests. He says those involved in Bill 97 shouldn't make decisions impacting Innu territory.
It's the territory chiefs, the families, and the hereditary chiefs who should decide what happens on the land. It's not the band councils. It's not the government. It's not the foresters. And especially not a corporate agreement that belongs to a foreign firm on our islands.
Petitquay and other land guardians have been going community to community to spread their message. Just a few weeks ago, APTN News spoke with Petaquay in Wemotashi, the heart of Atikamekw territory, where he was building teepees to block logging trucks from entering the territory. Petaquay says this fight didn't start with Bill 97.
We've been active since 2023. We've never given up the fight. It's always been continuous. There was a time when it was quiet for the world, but not for us.
Petaquay staged a blockade in Wemotashi in 2023 over the Indian Act Band Council signing a forestry agreement with the Quebec government. He says community members were not consulted.
We're in lands not ceded and not conquered by the great nation, Anishinaabe, Innu, Algonquin, Atikamekw. So we've never ceded anything.
Cette table a été mise en place à la suite du dépôt du projet de loi. Donc, encore une fois, on est mis devant le fait accompli.
This week, the AFNQL and 5 other chiefs announced that they will not be hosting consultation with the Quebec government because the Natural Resources Minister refuses to make a clear and formal commitment to an appropriate Bill 97 consultation process.
They've always acted this way, making all kinds of promises to Indigenous peoples, but never delivering on their promises. That's colonialist government.
Fellow land guardian Guy Paul says it's not simply about forestry. It's about implementing legislation that affects the original nations without including them in decision-making.
We want our rights, a say in how we want the cuttings to happen on our territories. Not clear cutting like today.
He says to maintain decision-making over their land, Bill 97 cannot be passed.
Because if it does, we won't have a voice in our territories.
The Guardians of the Land are now working with a law firm. They say legal aid will help support their fight against deforestation carried out without their consent. Savannah Craig, APTN National News, Montreal.
And finally, the first retail business at the Nawi Udna development in suburban Winnipeg just had its grand opening. Part of the largest urban reserve in Canada, the 24/7 Udna Gas and Convenience Store employs a 96% Indigenous workforce. The 64-hectare reserve was established in 2022 following the repatriation of the former Kapyong Barracks site to the Treaty 1 Development Corporation, owned by a group of 7 First Nations. And among those in attendance at Friday's ribbon-cutting ceremony, Treaty 1 President Chief E.J. Fontaine, SCO Grand Chief Jerry Daniels, and Mayor Scott Gillingham. Also on hand, AFN National Chief Cindy Woodhouse Neponac.
This landmark development will represent the largest multi-use project in modern Winnipeg history and the largest First Nation economic zone in this country. Treaty 1 has fought so hard to be a leader of what economic reconciliation looks like in this country, and I'm so proud to have been a part of advocating alongside Treaty 1 nations. It is an inspiration for all First Nations across this country to pursue their own collective governance models, from returning lands and improving economic development opportunities. The success of this place is a shining example of what our people can accomplish across the country.
And that's your APTN News Brief for Tuesday, July 29th. I'm Rick Harp.